from the stone. Love in a pie, that's the life we know. From the fields to the table, every bite it shows. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Mama in the kitchen, we never eat alone. Primarily me, the taste of home.
Prime Mill Meal, pure, proudly Zambian, the taste of home.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the Enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child. A promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
Hi, my name is Constance Nalishebo Mleawa, the mayor of Livingston. I also happen to be the 8th wonder of the world, and you are watching Prime TV 2.
Lovely good morning and warm welcome to a brand new week. It is indeed a very beautiful morning, and you're welcome to the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on PTV2. We're so glad that you could join us once again to start off a brand new week, of course, full of energy and exciting things that we do lined up for you on the Sunrise Breakfast Show. Of course, my name is Rhoda Mlenga, and I do have my colleague in the studio, Michael Himusa Jr., as always. Good morning. Good morning, Rhoda. How are you? I'm good. New week, new energy. What's setting the tone for the day?
Right, so there have been a lot of things happening over the weekend, and I'm just happy that we're wrapping up March, and we'll come in April in a special way, and I'm sure we expect a lot of things, goodies in the month of April. And I have to make mention that, you know, you're good, especially that you are blending with the colors of the pillows and everything. I was just joking earlier that, you know, the sun is yellow or orange. So you're vibing with the theme. Sunrise, and you are in orange.
I had to bring a little bit of some color. You know how the Monday blues are. They're always kicking in, but we are here to sort them out. And this is why the Sunrise Breakfast Show is here for you. So wherever you are watching us from, definitely you are welcome. And also do not forget that you can also join us by participating in the program. That is on the number 0972 0336. That is 0972 rather. 036306 0972 036306. Or you can also engage with us on our live feed on Facebook. That is PTV2 Zambia. We're also live on YouTube, PTV2 Zambia. So it's exciting, but it's more exciting definitely when you also just interact with us this morning. I know there's so many issues that you want to just talk about or let us know about that are going on in your communities. Feel free, because this is a program for you.
All right, Rhoda, since we had a very eventful week, I'd like to find out what's on your mind.
What's on my mind? Well, I did see some amazing, outfits at the Komboka ceremony over the weekend. And
you're talking about those skits.
The president looked good, by the way. He looked very good. He looked very smart, I know there's something that you want to say, but listen, in as much as you want to come in and criticize, I know they're your tribal cousins, but it looked really good and very eventful, I must say. I loved those same skits that you're talking about.
Ah, wonderful. Right, but one thing that became the highlight of the ceremony, despite whatever the DMMU thing they were doing and everything like that, as if it was a CDF community meeting. There was a man who was thrown.
I saw that
from the boat, the Nalikwanda, into the water. And even last year it happened. And those guys have got rules. And for example, if you paddle in a different direction, that's one reason, you'll be thrown out. The other reason, do you want me to tell you? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. If you happen to, maybe to sleep with the other gender the day before, and they discover that, they can throw you out.
Oh, okay.
So they've got strict rules.
Quite
So
interesting.
I just wanted to read out some of the rules that you are supposed to know as you go to the Kuomboka traditional ceremony, even next year. Since this year has already passed, but there are actually rules that the people that actually go there should know. I've just lost them.
We can look at them as we go on with the program. It's not like...
Oh, yes. So they say the Kuomboka ceremony brings much joy and splendor to many people in Barotseland. As such, year in, year out, many paddlers look forward to be included on the list of selected few, but end up not being on the final list. The paddlers are carefully selected to ensure everyone feels a part and parcel of the ceremony. While in the Nalikwanda, all the paddlers have an obligation to protect the Litunga, who is vulnerable from both internal and external forces that may put his life in danger. To achieve this, some strict rules and regulations are set out. Some of these are listed below. Number 1. Strict order requires that the Nalikwanda has to lead the Kuomboka procession. It is a taboo and a security breach for any vessel to get ahead of this royal badge, unless it is one of scouts boats, such as the Natamikwa and Mundende. I wanted to read it as Mudenda. For one to qualify to paddle in the Nalikwanda, that paddler were to be competent, disciplined, and of endurance in paddling. They were also to be able to paddle at both sides of the Nalikwanda. Photography is restricted in the Nalikwanda. There are restrictions on photography and videos inside the Nalikwanda during the procession. Nalikwanda paddlers must be prepared to retain pedals, lindelwe, and lion men's mashushu. Issued to them to the Natamoyo, and to remain seated in the Nalikwanda until the last beat of the Maoma. The Maoma is the drum. Dun, 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 dun. Those are the Maomas. So anyway, the rules are they're about 18. But the last one, the 18th one, says a paddler who has been thrown out of the Nalikwanda cannot return to it again. The Mundende and Natamikwa boats are used for taking people on and off the Nalikwanda for various reasons, including tiredness, poor paddling, and those being ejected out. All right, so these are some of the rules that you need to look out for when you actually attend the Kuomboka traditional ceremony. And if you happen to be one of the paddlers, you just have to know that there are rules, strict rules that you need to follow. Yeah.
Absolutely. For those of you that attended, well, I'm pretty much sure you had a great time, and most people started coming back, you know, to Lusaka or other parts of the country where they had traveled from about yesterday. So it was actually described as one of the most exciting and well-attended, you know, editions because it was actually blended with royal tradition, national leadership, and of course massive participation. But also, we cannot, you know, bypass the fact that the presence of the president made it even more elegant because he did attend, even accompanied the Litunga during key moments and received a massive welcome from crowds, you know, who are chanting Bali. And definitely something exciting. But moving on with our program, do not forget to send us that message in our comment section. That is PTV2 Zambia on Facebook. As always, we do begin with the stories making headlines across the country, and then we will also be joined by Sepiso Muteba from the Impact Center for Policy Research, and we'll be unpacking the Lubito Corridor project and what it really means for cross-border trade, especially for SMEs at Kasumbalesa. And also we're talking about delays, trade costs, and the real barriers traders face, and more importantly, the solutions. And for the football lovers, with Arsenal flying high this season, we couldn't obviously ignore Jeremiah Chalwe, who sit down with Kasonde Nkole, chairperson of the Arsenal Africa Fan Festival, local organizing committee. They will also break down everything that you need to know about the upcoming festival, and of course what fans should look forward to, and of course more conversations that truly matter. It is going to be definitely a jam-packed and meaningful program. But before we dive into those conversations, we will also have a look at something that affects us all, which is the weather.
Definitely, Rhoda. And, you know, I guess you are also a soccer fan, especially that we've got, you know, we're going to host the Arsenal African, you know, organizing festival fan team. And we look forward to host them. And maybe I would like to find out from you, what team do you support?
This is like the third time you asked this question, but I'm not really like, you know, a staunch on football supporter. But I would say I would go with you know, Real Madrid. Sometimes Arsenal.
Because they are winning this season?
Exactly.
Ah, wonderful. All right, so let's just check how the weather, and for those of you who are preparing to go for work, to school, to the market and everything, we just check how the weather is, you know, performing. Well, thank you so much. That's the weather forecast. And we're now going to the money markets. The US dollar is buying at 18.78 ngwe and selling at 19.12 ngwe. The euro is buying at 21.65 ngwe and selling at 22.4 ngwe. The Great British Pound is buying at 25 kwacha and selling at 25 kwacha 45 ngwe. The South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 10 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 12 ngwe. Those are your money markets.
All right, now moving on with our program, let's now turn our attention to some of the stories shaping the nation today as we get into some of these news headlines. Now, the Flying Doctor Service has successfully conducted 6 surgeries in Serenja district as part of the ongoing 7-day outreach program. Among the procedures carried out was a critical operation performed by Consultant General and hepatobiliary surgeon Dr. Benson Kaluba on a 21-year-old man who sustained life-threatening internal injuries following a motorbike accident. The surgery, which lasted 1 hour and 30 minutes, revealed that the patient had suffered a ruptured spleen. So now the operation was successfully completed, saving the young man's life. And meanwhile, several patients who have undergone procedures during the outreach have expressed gratitude to the Flying Doctor Service for bringing much-needed medical services closer to the community. Joseph Siambihi has the details.
The task was huge, as it was between life and death. Sweat was visible on the face of the surgeon from the Zambia Flying Doctor Service and his team at Serenja District Hospital. Hands and brains coordinated to save a life of a 21-year-old man who was involved in a motorbike accident on the 26th of March, 2026, on Kawekupera Road in Serenja District, a road carnage which claimed the life of his 17-year-old relative he was seated with on the same motorbike.
We've just finished doing a life-saving operation for a patient who was involved in a road traffic accident 2 days ago, in which some patients had died. His condition was getting worse. He was rushed under ambulance to here. We were ready on hand to start the operation, and we've just spent 1 hour 30 minutes. He had sustained a broken spleen, a very important organ which makes and filters blood products in the body. The most important thing was that he had lost a lot of blood because 2 days had passed. However, the team, together with the local team, we worked very fast to ensure that we quickly went in and opened the patient and stopped the bleeding. So far, we've finished, and the patient is responding to the surgery and the treatment being managed.
Dr. Kaluba further disclosed a number of surgeries conducted so far by the Zambia Flying Doctor Service.
This is the 60th case we've done. That is 5 adults and 1 child. We did an operation for an adult who had a long-standing collection of fluid in the right side of his scrotum. We call it hydrocele. Several previous temporal draining of the fluid was done, and the recollection of the fluid still persisted. We were able to surgically correct that collection doing a procedure called hydrocelectomy.
And some of those who have undergone successive surgeries are grateful for this life-saving outreach.
Continue. We are happy with your services. You are really saving lives of people. You can't hesitate when you hear that free help with doctors are around your area. I'm feeling great that now I've been discharged. They have checked the surgery, and I'm feeling much better.
Very much thankful to the Zambia Flying Doctor Services, because the services that are being rendered to the nation, and in particular individual patients, it helps very much.
Joseph Siambihi reporting, Prime TV News, Serenja.
All right, so we move on to our next story for today.
All right, so the Energy Regulation Board, ARB, has disclosed that it is working towards strengthening the country's fuel security by establishing strategic reserves. ARB Director General Elijah Sichone has revealed that several fuel storage facilities across the country are being activated or upgraded, including depots in Chipata, Mpika, Luapula, and Mongo. He says these facilities will not only support diversification of fuel sources, but also ensure the country maintains adequate reserves in line with international best practice of holding up to 90 days of fuel stock. Favourite Chisi has the details.
Rising tensions in the Middle East, particularly The ongoing conflict between Israel and Iran are placing renewed pressure on global oil prices. Countries around the world are beginning to feel the effects, and Zambia is not an exception. In response, Energy Regulation Board is turning its attention to alternative energy sources with a particular focus on biofuel, which is derived from organic materials such as plants and waste. ERB Director General Elijah Sichone says the move is part of a broader effort to reduce the country's dependence on imported fuel.
The biofuel industry is an industry that is evolving. We've got a regulatory framework for that. I think we've got even standards in place for biofuel. And also, there's a policy by government that we should also be doing blending. We do need to blend, for instance, petrol with ethanol. You can do blends of even up to 10%.
He is also calling on key stakeholders to support the transition as the country looks to diversify its energy mix and improve resilience in the face of global shocks.
It's a question of the industry itself, coming to the party, and we've seen private sector interest in this country, those that are producing ethanol. There are OMCs, oil marketing companies, that have actually been producing ethanol and exporting to some other countries to actually do the blending. Because remember, where there's a market and where there's a need, that's when we see private sector, thriving.
Engineer Sichone says ERB is working to establish strategic fuel reserves across the country to help cushion against fuel supply disruptions.
The country is also looking at going forward, setting up our strategic reserves. We do have storage facilities dotted in various parts of the country. We are now in the process of activating the depot in Chipata, so that fuel can be stored there. We have a depot in Pika that is operational. We have a depot in Wapula that is in the process of being activated. And we also have a depot in Mongu that is in the process of also being activated.
Favorite Chisi Pram TV News, Lusaka.
Right, so moving on to another story, President Hakainde Hichilema has reaffirmed the government's commitment to ensuring that Zambia remains a peaceful country before and after the August general elections. President Hichilema says there is need for citizens to uphold peace and unity in order for the country to reach its greatest height in terms of development. The head of state said this when he joined hundreds of congregants at the New Apostolic Church in Mongo yesterday. More details in this report.
The New Apostolic Church Kapona congregation in Mongo district was back to capacity as President Hakainde Hichilema made a special appearance during his two-day working visit to Western Province. Various cabinet and provincial ministers, as well as senior UPND government officials, also attended the service filled with worship songs. During the service, lead Apostle Elvis Movita delivered a powerful homily, urging attendees to love one another and uphold Christian values.
Love one another. Already has given us a new commandment in the book of John. That a new commandment I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. Beloveds in the Lord, we need to love one another. Love one another as a family. In the communities in which we live. And also as a country. We need to love one another. Beloveds in the Lord. So if we love one another with genuine love, that means putting the weight of Christ into practice.
President Hichilema in his address promised to maintain the current peace in the country, both now and after the upcoming general election.
Elections should not divide this family, the Zambian family. It's a choice of those that will lead us so we can better the opportunities for our people across the country. So we want to commit, sir, that on our part, we'll do everything to ensure that we're peaceful, credible elections on the 13th of August 2026.
He also generously donated a sum of 200,000 kwacha and pledged to support the church's construction projects. The church members expressed their gratitude towards President Hichilema for his support.
We just want to say thank you for what the president has done in Mongo, all the donations that he has done to the new projects and the church. We say thank you and God bless our president.
tumeraho kuba president kampo yabakone kufa kwa kereke yaruna tusiza huru makuru chimbula penesero kakamanya huru snaka kereke inoskera kona feza mu yaho yaruna mikampo yo president right tumera luli mulimu abaiterere.
As the service concluded, the president bid farewell to the congregation and continued his journey to Lusaka.
Thank you so much, Marcus Brian Sakubita, for that beautiful report. And we saw how, people were excited, actually, to see the head of state and also the president preaching peace and unity ahead of the August general elections, Rhoda.
Absolutely. Right, so it's that time when we get to see exactly what's happening with the headlines in the newspaper. So there's quite some interesting headlines that we'll be updating you on. For those of you that are not so conversant with newspapers, they're still interesting even up to this day, because they always have like some interesting and entertaining headlines. Oh, yeah. So we'll start with News Diggers. So we see a screaming headline here that says there's no debt for holding convention in UPND constitution. And also we do see another headline that says Mansa PF mayor resigns, rallies behind Hakainde Hichilema. And we also see another headline that says we will do everything to ensure a peaceful pause. President Hakainde Hichilema says this. And another one that says in April we will start penalizing mining firms not implementing local content, SI government. And another one that says introduce sin tax to cover HIV and AIDS programs at Chilufya.
Is that even necessary, Rhoda?
No, it's not.
All right, so maybe just to comment on some of the headlines that you've read out. You started with there's no date for holding convention in the UPND, says Cornelius Mwetwa, who is government's chief spokesperson and also the Minister of Information and Media. To the party, is the party spokesperson. This has been something which, has brought debate on social media, even in the political space. So there is one UPND member who actually wrote to the Secretary General demanding or asking why the UPND has not held its convention, because according to the party constitution, the term for the head of state, the president, who is the party president as well, ended in February. So if we were to follow the party constitution, that means the UPND at the moment doesn't have a president. That's a tricky thing. Yeah. So now there has been calls from some members that they don't want to come out of holding the convention. So I think Mr. Mwetwa was responding to the letter and to the concerns. Yeah. But, there has been, I think Mr. Max Mue also held a press briefing where he mentioned that a convention will be held and everything like that. But with these endorsements that we've seen, can someone contest as president to challenge the current head of state?
No.
Anyway, it's going to be interesting. We look forward to when the UPND is going to have a convention. Though Mr. Mwetwa is saying there's no date for holding convention in the UPND constitution. So we don't know when it will hold its convention. Yeah. But was it last week? We saw the PF, a faction of the PF, holding the convention, and one Makebi Zulu was elected as the party president. And just yesterday, he made his first appointment of the committee, and it should be today. They'll be convening for the first meeting. So we look forward. And surprisingly, on Saturday, one Chabinga also had a press briefing actually saying he's the legit president, acting president of the PF. So it's interesting, and I'm looking forward to see the drama even as we head to the August general elections.
Absolutely. All right, so we move on to the Daily Nation, which also has some interesting headlines. The screaming headline here says, "We've no choice but to unite," says Harry Kalawa. Now, another one says, "Dr. Sishua exposes plot to arrest Makebi." We do see another headline that says, "Prepare for mass disqualifications." Changala. We have thugs in police uniform, Nyasulu.
Ah, wonderful.
You would like to comment on?
Yeah, sure. So, Mr. Kalaba says that we have no choice but to unite. Warns that unless the opposition, agree to unite, change and rally on one presidential candidate, Zambia risks falling off a cliff into political instability. He continues and says, fears there is a real danger that the constitution will be changed to entrench dictatorship should the UPND remain in power. I don't agree with him on this, the rest, but where the headline says we have no choice but to unite, I think it's something that I concur with him. At the moment, there's too much disunity among the opposition political parties. Almost everyone wants to be a president. Like, there's no one who wants to say, okay, you guys, let's sit down and choose someone who will lead us. I'll go back again. Let me just bring you back with the Tonse Alliance. We had a lot of presidential candidates who wanted to be at the helm of the alliance. But you know what? It failed because there was no one who was willing to step back and say, okay, led to a newborn alliance called the PF Pamozi Alliance. And who is going to be a leader there? We don't know. And we don't know if there will be confusion again on who will lead the alliance. We don't know. But there's too much confusion within the opposition circles. And it's not good for democracy. Because these confusions, I think it's too late. As we are only remaining with only a few months to the August general elections. And if the opposition are not united, what message are they going to sell to the Zambians for electorates to vote for them? So it will be very difficult. Because at the moment, Zambians are also observing and saying maybe they don't have something to sell. And the UPND will just go just like that. But if the opposition is to unite, I think there will be sanity in the political space. And also it will be very competitive come August 13th. And it's good for democracy. Because if we have a divided opposition, that gives the ruling party an opportunity to go unopposed. Sure.
Interesting. Let's move on to the Must newspaper, and we see a screaming headline here that says, "Don't register Sangwa Party. State House orders police registrar of society." And defamation law still being applied, Kasonde. Expert doubts bumper maize capacity. And last but not the least, Nalumango urges unity for peace ahead of pause.
Well, let me start with don't register Sangwa Party. State House orders police registrar of societies. I don't know how true this is, but anyway, it's 50-50. And Mr. Sangwa has been calling for you and I, Rhoda, to contribute towards his political party so that they contest come August, general elections. And he was saying if each and every citizen contribute 100 kwacha to fund his political campaigns, then he will be able to, to stand.
And he also says that if Zambians don't contribute, then they don't want change.
But that's tough, eh? But that's tough because these same politicians have taught us that for us to participate or to like someone, you need to give me something. And, you know, this is the mindset that they've created for themselves. If I'm a politician, nabuela paroda, nakambache, vintu vizankala buino, don't worry, tisebenzerapo and everything like that, mutivotele, nachoka no choka. Would you think people will vote for me? But I need to buy them Vutuala, 7 days. So this is, I'm not saying it's good or bad, but this is like the mindset which they have created in us. Whenever we see a politician, it's a vertigan zachabe TDM. Nothing else. TDM, kwasila. So if the way we do politics can be changed, I think it will really help even those people that have good ideas but they lack resources to come on board and change things. My elections yako USA, when I compared them na Africa or Munanka and Zambia, USA could be Commander One, whereby Wavala regalia monga ndio musoja chanchanu ko kulibe vija. So kuja, it's just your message. Presidential candidates actually go to debate on their manifesto.
Exactly.
But if we were to call a politician, nomfunza, what's your manifesto? Badala. Kulibe na vayo azakamba. Bazambo kamba no HH sanachite buino, HH sanachite declare ma assets, HH jaga indali, mwana wake kuzedenesi. But is that necessary? We need, to sell our ideas, not to scandalize our opponents. We need to change the way we do politics going forward.
Absolutely. All right, so now moving on.
Wonderful. So this is the kind of talk that we should be expecting from opposition political leaders, whereby you don't put your interest first, but, whatever the outcome, we just have to support one another.
All right, so the Times of Zambia says, practice what you... I think these are some of the headlines that we have in the Times of Zambia.
All right, I think they're self-explanatory. In Chizungai, we need to practice what we preach. So if we preach love, we should show love. If we preach unity, let's be united, especially this critical time when we are heading to the general elections.
Yeah.
You saw the mishap of miscommunication during the Kalumbila mob killing.
Yeah.
So we need to be careful of that, and we need to preach or to do what we preach. So if we preach unity, that means we need to also denounce political violence, and we shouldn't involve ourselves into that because you and I, Rhoda, know very well that some of the people that actually call other people to go and demonstrate on the streets, their families, you will never find them Balimu Street and everything like that. Even where they can't be in the forefront to protest and cause political violence. The best example that I would, talk about, it's what happened, was it on Friday, when Brian Mundubile was summoned at ACC. There's this Victor Nyasulu. He was talking back to some police officers, and the way he was bundled, it was very embarrassing. Like, so then, after that mishap, Brian Mundubile left, and Wanyasulu benze musidf van. So I want you to see the situations the way they happen. Brian Mundubile was even escorted kumotoka kwake bamuse gulila angena moja muli aircon motoka baenda. Nyasulu ali mu CDF. So if we are not in the forefront of causing political violence, then we are going to be free like Mundubile, the way he was walking, bamuperekeza, angena motoka and everything like that. But if we want to be unruly, we end up being picked kunkala na free ride mu CDF vehicles. So let's preach what we do, or do what we preach, so that there can be harmony, peace, and unity, even as we head to the general elections.
Absolutely. I think earlier on we did read a story where the president, attended a service in Western Province where he did go to the New Apostolic Church. And so in the Daily Mail today, there's a headline that says, "Pause shouldn't set us apart. HH assures Church that electoral process will be done in credible, peaceful manner." There's also another headline that says, "New Dawn seeks better infrastructure for traditional ceremonies." And something different, government signs 100 million kwacha contract for Evelyn Horn student hostels. Works popularity a yardstick for UPND adoptions in Kandu. Those are the headlines that are there in the Daily Mail. I think I like this headline that says government signs 100 million kwacha contract for Evelyn Horn student hostels. I think it's about time.
It's about time, yes. And, because most of the students, they rent in compounds like Karingalinga, they rent in Tendere, and sometimes I've seen situations whereby you'd want to knock off late so that maybe you remain behind and study. And sometimes these streets become, unsafe. So if students are accommodated within the school premises, it becomes very easy for them to even thrive in their studies.
Yeah, I think even just the infrastructure itself, when you talk about the hostels that are at the school, it's quite old.
Yes.
Those are old buildings that, our forefathers used, It's about time they modernize them maybe and just, put up something new or renovate them and make a bigger space, obviously. So those are some of the headlines that we have for you in the newspapers today. And just getting up to date with what's happening in terms of current affairs. But we do move on. And right about now, let's check what happened today in history. And of course, a bit of some Did You Know teasers. And we'll be right back on the other side. Do not move.
What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Charles Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
takulandirani kuno kuli Dr. Makanjira amene akupezeka m'boma la Mumbwa. Tikuziwa kuti anthu ena imwene kwa madokta zosiyana-siyana kapena kuti azisinga osiyana-siyana kumaluza ndalama zanu. Koma chimene timakamba amene mukutiza kuti Dr. Makanjira kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa, ndipo mufunika kuziwa kuti Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa. Aliyense wamene azotiwa pita mavuto osiyana-siyana atumene Dr. Makanjira akuthandizeni. Kaya kusowa kuti mu nyumba mulibe mwana, kaya kuti nikutupa kwa miyendo Dr. Makanjira zamakwanirisa. Koma tikupempha inu omvera kuna kuli konse umene timvera kuti kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe zoyesa. Aliyense amene akutenga namba yafunika khani cholinga chamene tikukamba kuti kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa azimayi azibambo kuli konse kutimvera. Dr. Makanjira kupezeka m'boma la Mumbwa, mukafika pa Mumbwa prison paja funsani una aliyense kuti Dr. Makanjira apezeka kuti aza kuuzani. Koma meti makamba kuti ena kumkulira kuti anaenda ukuzibzana sizina ngusoke. Chamene ngakamba for example chachisanzo kapena kuti example ndichokuti ngati mwatenga muphalo wachikonde kuli Dr. Makanjira sunagwira ntchito Dr. Makanjira aza kupozani ndalama yanu. Ndimene kukanjira Makanjira sangafike ife kuna kuli konse kwa mwatifuna ife tingabwere ngati mukuyopa kuti ine silifuna kuti nibwere ku office kwanu ife timafika pa nyumba pano kusebenzerani pathandizo amene mukufuna ndipena masozi ya Dr. Makanjira ndifake kuchallenge pano kuti kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa kani pa nyumba pano ife timafika kugwira ntchito amene mukufuna ife.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. You are watching the Sunrise Breakfast Show right here on PTV2, and we're coming to you live on Top Star Channel 110 and also streaming live on our Facebook page. That's PTV2 Zambia. Now, the Impact Center for Policy Research, ICPR, has launched a new project focused on the Lobito corridor aimed at improving cross-border trade for SMEs at Kasumbalesa. This initiative seeks to tackle long-standing challenges from delays and high trade costs to procedural inefficiencies using data-driven policy solutions. But beyond the policy language, many Zambians are asking a very simple question. Will this project translate into real tangible relief for small-scale traders? To help us unpack this, I'm joined by Mr. Sepiso Muteba. Good morning, Mr. Muteba, and welcome to the Breakfast Show.
Good morning. It's great to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I know you speak this ugly language, the Lozi. I guess you were in Western Province for the Komboka ceremony.
For the Komboka ceremony.
Did you go there?
No, unfortunately not. I was not able to attend. But
But
it looked like it was an amazing event from the photos and the videos that were being surfaced online, and it was very active this time around.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I hope you've attended the ceremony before, right?
No, I will, but in the future, in the near future.
I'm disappointed. And then anyway, since you've never attended the Komboka tradition ceremony, I'll sponsor you to witness or attend one of these traditional ceremonies in Southern Province, especially the Luanza traditional ceremony in Wengwa. It's a big ceremony compared to that CDF meeting that was in Western Province.
Western Province, yeah. I'll be glad to attend.
Wonderful. All right, so let's get back to business. That was on a lighter note.
Okay.
Now, what exactly is the Lobito Free Trade Path project, and why should an ordinary Zambian care about it?
Okay. So, talking about the Lobito Free Trade Path project, it's basically talking about the Lobito corridor, which is a major trade route connecting Zambia to the DRC and to the Atlantic Ocean at large. So, we heavily depend on these corridors because Zambia, being a landlocked country, has to trade with surrounding countries. We are surrounded by 8 different countries, and the Lobito trade path is the policy that we are pushing so that we are able to open the borders and open the markets between the surrounding countries. So the trade path is going to be coming all the way from Kasumbalesa and from Lobito in Angola, and
for that common Zambian path, what are we talking about, and what should citizens or traders expect from the project?
Okay. So The project, to put it in a layman's language, it's simply advocating for easier trade. So we know at the borders and across different fields of the Lobito corridor, there are so many, how can I put this, delays. There are so many delayments at the border, specifically at the Kasumbalesa border, and this would be very costly to a layman that's running a business. And I would give an example. Let's say if they're selling tomatoes, and then they are purchasing the tomatoes from the DRC and they're delivering them to Zambia. So along that border at Kasumbalesa, it would take roughly maybe between 5 and 7 days for the truck just to be processed. So that delayment tends to have a huge impact on the trader because they can lose their products due to the time spent outside of maybe the refrigerator. So the tomatoes, for example, would go bad.
Sure.
And then before us as Impact Center, we're advocating for faster processing procedures at the border and also teaching people in the SMEs industry about how they can, how can I put this?
All right, now, you know, Kasumbalesa has been described as one of the most challenging borders of traders. You mentioned about, you know, congestion, delays, and, you know, informal charges. But I would like to find out from you, what concrete evidence do you have that this project will change that reality?
So currently, being that this is when the project is being implemented, we want to collect solutions, and maybe traders are dealing with real-time problems daily. But you know, something that I would like to find out and know is, you know, how quickly can they expect to see actual improvements on the ground once the project is implemented? I think it's a matter of time. So given a year, it's not something that would happen there and then.
Okay.
But with time, the traders would get to see major differences as compared to now, because what we're advocating for is simply easier trading routes. And if we can advocate for better policies like that, would see the increase of let me just say transportation between the borders. So it's not something that would happen there and then, but over time, if the policies are adjusted, the traders would be able to notice these slight differences.
All right, so you are into research and you always talk about policies and everything like that. So what policies would you like to see that they are changed to ensure that the project becomes a reality and also the challenges that are currently being faced by SMEs, you know, reduced going forward?
I think I would mention two. So one policy that we'd like to advocate for is digitalization in the industry. So currently, a lot of traders face a lot of paperwork when they are trading through the borders of Kasumbalesa, and you find that the documentations, let's say if you leave your document, one document, you'll be sent back and you won't be able to proceed to enter into the next country. So with digitalization, people would be able to have access to their, let's say, passports and visas on the mobile phone.
Sure.
Just the way the government has been pushing with the smart invoicing with ZRA. We're seeing that movement from old systems to newer, updated systems. So the use of technology is really helping, and it's going to make it easier for us to collect data, and it's also going to make it easier for the layman operating their business, because almost everyone moves with their phones these times around.
Sure.
So they can easily carry their documentation and it can be scanned, and there will be no over workload of paperwork.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Now you're dealing with you know, SMEs. Some of them, they don't have smartphones. They don't have so much education to understand the complexities of what happens, let's say, in these borders. So maybe how are you intending to break down the information to SMEs so that they are able to understand and also benefit from the project?
Okay, so we are basically looking to collaborate with stakeholders and the government as well, because part of our goal is to train these people in the small and medium enterprises, because lack of knowledge would lead to someone not knowing even how to use the intended features of what we're trying to achieve. But given with the training, mentorships, and the classes that we'll be having, it's going to be easier to teach the SMEs and the people in business about how to go about the trade along the border. And this in turn also gives them an insight of how to trade along the border. Yes.
So then, so in short, you are going to have maybe awareness programs.
Yes.
And also
so we're having workshops.
Okay.
Awareness programs. We're also having the fellowship programs as well.
Okay.
Yes.
You can also consider advertising on such platforms because people watch TV, social media, and everything like that. So I think it will reach out to a lot of SMEs or your target audience.
Yes.
If you.
So within the first year, a measurable outcome is that we're expected to train about 50. We're expected to train about 50 small-scale businesses.
Okay. From Kasumbalesa or?
Within the region of the
Lobito corridor.
The Lobito corridor,
Okay.
yes. Then besides that, we're also... Oh, sorry, hold on.
Okay, so maybe even as you just go through that, I would also like to find out how you are working with government institutions, especially border authorities, to ensure your findings are not ignored or shelved off. Because earlier you talked about policy and everything like that. So how are you working with government institutions to ensure that this becomes a reality?
Okay, so we're collaborating with government institutions, and we're also making sure that our policies align with the rules that they have in charge, basically. So we've been working with the Ministry of Local Government, and we recently had the LibertyCon Africa, where the AFCFTA was discussed, and we had people from various parts of the continent in Africa. And that's one of the ways that we are working with the government to continue sensitizing and teaching more people about the free trade area and about the Lobito corridor. Yes.
Wonderful. And maybe talking about the LibertyCon Africa, one of the major, discussion that was there was the challenges in terms of, is it inter-transfer, mobile money transfers and everything like that. So maybe you can just tell us about that as well, and how you are trying to bridge the gap and advocate for regulations that can consider reducing the rates so that there can be intertrade within the region.
Yes. Okay, so talking about the intertrade, a lot of these countries face major challenges in the sense that there are so many tariffs and high costs that are aligned with sending money, let's say, from one country to another. So one of the challenges that were noticed is that when someone is trying to send money, let's say from Angola to Zambia, I can't use maybe a payment method like Airtel Money.
Sure.
Because they also have another courier network, and then also using another different, a high fee. And that's just basically before purchasing the product. So it's an added cost to the entrepreneur and to the trader, on the sense that they just wanted to send the money to purchase that specific good. So we would want freer policies, so to say, so that someone can be able to send, let's say, 100 kwacha. Let's say I want to buy tomatoes from you in Congo.
Sure.
I can basically use a payment system that is easy and that doesn't attract a lot of costs aligned. So I can just basically send 100 kwacha, then also purchase the goods and their own, it makes trading easier. Sure. As the markets are open, would need to have policies that have lower tariffs and taxes so that it helps people to continue running the business and they don't have to incur losses and the like.
Sure. Thank you so much, Ms. The home of breaking news. And, you know, in the comment section there on Facebook, and we'll be able to read out, you know, your views. What do you think about this project? Is it going to help a lot of SMEs to ensure that the delays, the congestion that they actually face at Kasumbalesa border and also along the Lobito corridor are reduced or are addressed? What do you think about this project? And maybe coming back to the project, Mr. Sepiso, yes. The Lobito corridor is a regional initiative. How does this project, you know, position Zambia competitively against neighboring countries in cross-border trade? Earlier you mentioned that, you know, we are surrounded by 8 countries, and in primary school we learned that Zambia is a landlocked country, but President Hakainde Hichilema actually argues that we are not locked but we are linked. So how does this project position Zambia competitively against neighboring countries?
I think it puts us in a really good position because compared to other countries, like mentioned, we are around 8 different countries. So it puts us in a strategic position in the sense that we are able to trade between 8 different countries, and there are some countries that just have the ocean next to them. So to us, it is a big opportunity, and that's why they were saying that it's not landlocked, we are land-linked.
Exactly.
It links majority of the countries, and with majority of the minerals being produced in Zambia, we can have a big proportion of trade, in the sense that we have a growing demand of the lithium ore, the copper ore, and Zambia is very rich in those minerals. And using the Lobito path and the Lobito corridor along the railway, it would be cheaper to transport those minerals, the mineral ores, to the wider markets outside of Zambia. And people can not only trade in Zambia, but to other markets.
Sure.
Yes.
Right. So maybe what's the time frame of the project? Is there a time frame or something?
Yes, the time frame of the project is 1 year, starting,
1 year.
Yes.
All right. So let me just read out some of the comments that we have. We've got a comment from Juma Nguni, who says that the project is very insightful and it will help alleviate trade barriers and later increase revenue. We also have, you know, a comment from Kenny Suzej, who says, brilliant work, Sepiso, you have done us proud. Shout out to Obed Shanambe Jr., as well as Mulengana Kazwe. Thank you so much. Shibu Yengosa says wonderful, as well as Robbie Malama Jr. is watching from Kabwe. Thank you so much, Robbie. It's good to know that Kabwe is glued to this breakfast show. And also, Roda Mwanza is watching from Kasumbalesa, and he says Impact Center. And it's good that people from you know, Kasumbalesa are following. And you know, Please Z Limited says great work, Sepiso. Seems like you are receiving some accolades there. And Madali Somonga is also says wonderful, Sepiso. Namango Ramshokabanji says good morning, watching from 6 miles just near here, as well as Kahiata Vincent is watching from Namasheshe in Luampa district of Western Province. Thank you so much for the feedback, and it's good to always know that you are following the program. What you can do is to be part of the conversation, you can just leave a comment in the comment section, and we'll be able to read out you know, your contribution or your question, your suggestion, and we appreciate your feedback. Now, moving forward, you mentioned that you know, the project is 1 year. Now, what happens when the project ends? Will the impact be sustained, or will traders go back to the same challenges they had previous?
Okay. So after the year elapses, we wouldn't want people to go back to the challenges that they faced. And that's why we are bringing this project, so that after the year we can see a change. because traders shouldn't go back to the challenges that were faced earlier, then meaning the project was not at work or didn't serve its purpose. So what would really want the challenges that they faced earlier. And so after this time period elapses, we would expect that to have better markets. We expect the traders to have better markets, trade easier and more faster and efficient as compared to before.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Now, finally, even as we conclude this part of the interview, what would success look like for you, not on paper, but in the daily life of a trader crossing Kasumbalesa?
I think success would look like having more businesses open. I think that's what success would look like, because we are not just theory. We're pushing to have a practical perspective. So it's not just about the notes and the books, but we're also engaging with the SMEs so that the change is noticeable, and shops would want to see more businesses opening in short, because it would have less, it would cost less to run a business, and henceforth would see less costs of goods and services, being that the policy has been advocated rightfully. Sure. Yes.
All right. Now, even as we conclude the program, Mr. Sepiso, yes. Kenny actually says, very great program. This Lobito Corridor project will show insights that will improve transportation costs and will also bring industrialization and improve value chain. Now, even as we conclude the program, I would like you to look through that camera and tell that SME, convince them that this project is going to change their lives along the Lobito Corridor.
Okay, so basically this project is for the SMEs. It's for the day-to-day entrepreneur. It goes to the layman selling vegetables, to the person that's selling minerals and other products. So we are sensitizing for better policies so that we can have freer markets and open markets. And once these open markets are established, it would be easy and great for the trader to operate and have a successful business, because they would incur less costs and they would even marginalize more profits. So this is just to say that it's not a project that's going to be done and dusted, but it's a project that would bring impact to the day-to-day trader.
Well, yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Sepiso, for your time and for shedding light on this important issue.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you.
Now, let's take a look at what else is making headlines across the country this morning. A joint ecumenical Palm Sunday celebration was successfully held yesterday in Lusaka with a strong call for peace and unity across Zambia. The event was led by Reverend William Chanda of Mary Magdalene Anglican Church in Woodlands, bringing together 6 congregations in a shared observance of the holy day. Reverend Chanda urged congregants to emulate the life of Jesus Christ by remaining steadfast in their faith and commitment. He emphasized the importance of unity, reminding believers that Christ sacrificed his life selflessly for humanity. Details in the following report.
They marched with joy. Palm branches waving as Christians gathered to commemorate Palm Sunday in Lusaka. The joint ecumenical celebration brought together 6 congregations in a unified call for peace and unity across Zambia. The procession began at St. Dominic's Catholic Church with believers singing palm branches in a symbolic reenactment of the triumphant entry of Jesus Christ into Jerusalem. The event was led by Reverend William Chanda of Mary Magdalene Anglican Church.
Let's oneness and unity continue until the end of our lives, because Jesus said, I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. We are part of the church that Jesus came to build, and Jesus, before he went to heaven, he prayed for our unity. When you read John 17, 10 and 11, verse 20 to 23, Jesus prayed to the Father that, Father, I am not praying only for these who have believed, but even all those who are going to believe through them all over the world, that they may be one, even as you and I, Father, are one. Once again, let's celebrate the Lord by waving our palms.
Other church leaders also echoed similar sentiments, emphasizing the need for humility and spiritual renewal.
So there are a number of lessons that we can learn from this celebration. The first one, more especially for us believers, we are called upon to proclaim peace for our families, peace for our homes, our marriages, and in particular, peace in the country. I think to me this is very important. Looking at it that this is a timely message for a country like Zambia, where sooner or later we'll be holding elections. And so we have a role to play as believers to preach the message of peace.
Important in this election, no matter how insignificant you may look, your participation in the elections this year is very important, because we are one body in Christ and we are one body as Zambians, and this is for all of us. Let us participate in the forthcoming election. Let us preach unity, because that's why Christ died for each one of us, so that we may live as one body in Christ.
Palm Sunday marks the beginning of a Holy Week, a significant period in the Christian calendar observed by millions worldwide. Rajesh Michael Simiza reporting, Prime TV News in Lusaka.
What do we stand for? We stand for possibility, for the belief that every tomorrow begins with a choice made today. We stand for growth, for curiosity that pushes boundaries, for knowledge that prepares you not just to adapt, but to lead. We stand for community, for minds that don't just think, but connect, for hands that don't just build, but uplift. We stand for experiences that shape you, for friendships that anchor you, for courage that carries you beyond this place. Here you become more than a student. You become a maker of solutions, a believer in dreams, a contributor to something greater than yourself. This is where purpose meets possibility. This is where futures are built. Charles Brook Bassar University, where you stand for what matters.
Early in the morning, fire on the stove, love in a pie, that's the life we know. From the fields to the table, every bite it shows. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Primarily me, the taste of home. Mama in the kitchen, we never eat alone. Primarily me, the taste of home.
Prime Mill Meal, pure, proudly Zambian, the taste of home.
Before 2022, millions of Zambian children stayed home, not because they didn't want to learn, but because school was unaffordable for many families. Today, things are much better. No more tuition fees, no more PTA fees, and no more examination fees. More than 2.5 million children are back in class across the country, from villages to towns, from the cities to the districts and provinces. Schools are feeding our children and classrooms are full again. And with the enhanced Constituency Development Fund, communities around Zambia are transforming education. More classrooms are being built, more desks are being made, more teachers are being hired. Because Bali cares. He has delivered this for all children across Zambia. Because free education is not just a policy, it is a promise to every Zambian child. A promise that poverty will not decide their future. A promise delivered.
Working towards strengthening the country's fuel security by establishing reserves, ERB Director General Elijah Schone has revealed that several fuel storage facilities across the country are being activated or upgraded, including depots in Chipata, Mpika, Luapula and Mongu. He also says these facilities will not only support diversification of fuel sources, but also ensure the country maintains adequate reserves in line with international best practice of holding up to 90 days of fuel stock. Now, one of our reporters, Favourite Chisi, is joining us right now just to give us an update of what exactly is going on. Good morning, Favourite.
Good morning, Rhoda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Okay.
I want to find out, is it true that there's a diesel shortage, and what exactly is happening on the ground?
All right, so from the spot check the Energy Regulation Board conducted last week on Friday, out of the 5 stations that we had inspected, only one had diesel. And this raised a lot of concern from the motorists because they had complained that they were sent away because there were no diesel. So ERB, of course, inspected fuel filling stations. They were conducting that across the country. So they had also assured members of the party diesel, which had at that time run out in most of the fuel stations that were monitored. And the ERB public relations manager had confirmed that some of the reasons why the country is experiencing a shortage is because fuel service stations were holding on to fuel because of the monthly review that the ERB conducts to review the prices. So they were suspecting that this could be one of the reasons why the country was experiencing fuel shortage. Of course, this also has a negative impact when it comes to the economy. And this morning had visited 2 filling stations. Of course, I noticed that there is diesel and petrol. I did not see any long queues compared to what we saw over the weekend. And I think this maybe follows the President Hakainde Hichilema's directive to all marketing companies to ensure that they address this issue. But I feel it shouldn't be like that. We shouldn't wait for the president to issue a directive when they know what they are supposed to do.
Now, Favourite, from your observation, is there any panic buying?
This morning, I haven't seen any because most of the filling stations are not really empty. Of course, there are a few vehicles that are passing through to buy fuel. As at this morning, I haven't seen any panic buying.
All right. So maybe also moving forward, what should some what should our viewers look out for in terms of some of the developments that you'll be bringing us from that story?
All right, so we are waiting for the Energy Regulation Board. They had indicated that maybe today or before the end of this week, they will be able to call us and tell us the findings, because they were still, at that time, they were still inspecting, monitoring how these filling stations were conducting themselves when it comes to the supply of fuel. So they will be able to update us, maybe probably this week. We are yet to hear from them, and we'll keep monitoring the situation and let viewers know what is happening. But for now, we'll wait to hear from what the ERB will be able to give us the findings.
For that update, we look forward to more updates from you as the day goes by.
All right, Rhoda, have a good day.
All right.
Just giving us an update of the entire fuel situation that is going on in this particular country. Obviously, we expect quite a number of developments, as the ERB has put it, and obviously just letting us know on some of the contributing factors to this diesel shortage that we are having. But for now, we take a short break. On the other side, Jeremiah will be joining us to update us with what's happening in the world of sports.
What is love if you don't give it away?
Want to charm a woman anyway, because you are built to pursue.
A purpose marriage, really, and it takes a lot of intentionality.
True companionship is not proximity. It is a mutual knowing. Intentional love will always win. Join us for Love Diaries, where couples share their love stories, play fun games, and more. Love Diaries, where love is honest, learning is constant, and conversations matter. Love Diaries, love will always win.
Ndine Dr. Kolomana, Dr. Lamene akutandiza anthu osiyana-siyana mu Zambia muno. Muperekeseso mbiri konsekonse ukuli kumene ndimupita anthuwo ndimwauze chiona chene eziko mukwambira mayi.
My name is Jeff Perry from Chipata. I came to see Dr. Kolomana for a financial problem that I've had for a long time. Now I'm able to live a meaningful life.
9 months nileza mimba yawe mwana 9 months but sinezopata puno mimba inauka mpaka kufika 10 months. So natamba kwa Dr. Kolomana pa TV. So nipamene nanyamuka yatenga phone number nanyamuka nobwera kuno. But kufika kuno nanipasa bananitandiza. Bananuza ti mzaenda lero clinic mzakala na mwana. Chakuma mzaenda mailo chakuma 9 hours ishimuni na mwana. But tinaenda 9 hours exact napezeka na baby boy.
Lintu naleta mbapa TV na ishire umfwa balelanda paiba Dr. Kolomana. Efo na ishire senda phone number ya Dr. Kolomana na isa na batumina badisa njasuka bampera ma direction na alima ndipantanshi na adishitana moto kei na totera
mankwalanga ine sintenga kuno ndimatenga Mozambique ndikumulanje pamene ndimatenga ati ndimathandiza mankhwala osiyana-siyana.
For more information, contact us on 0211-261242 or 0976-716754 or 0967-276448.
Takulandirani kuno kuli Dr. Makanjira amene akupezeka m'boma la Mumbwa. Tikuziwa kuti anthu ena imwe ndi kwa doctors osiyana-siyana kapena kuti azisinga osiyana-siyana kumaluza ndalama zanu. Koma chimene timakamba amene mukutiza kuti Dr. Makanjira kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa. Ndimufunika kuziwa kuti Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa. Aliyense wamene azoti apita mavuto osiyana-siyana atumene Dr. Makanjira akuthandizeni. Kaya kusowa kuti munyumba mulibe mwana, kaya kuti nikutupa kwa miyendo Dr. Makanjira zamakwaniritsa. Koma ndikupempha omvera kuna kuli konse amene timvera kuti kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe zoyesa. aliyenso amene akutenga namba yafunika khani cholinga chamene kukamba kuti kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa azimayi azibambo kulikonse kutimvera. Dr. Makanjira kupezeka mboma la Mumbwa, mukafika pa Mumbwa prison paja funsani unaliyenso kuti Dr. Makanjira apezeka kuti aza kuuzani. Koma meti makamba kuti ena mkulira kuti anaenda ukuzibzana sizina kusoke chamene ngakamba ni drama yanu. Ndime tukamba kuli Dr. Makanjira. Ndime tukambira kuti kaulapenda ngomene amadauta kuti Dr. Makanjira sangafike ife kuna kuli konse kwa mwatifuna ife tingabwere ngati mkuyopa kuti ine silifuna kuti nibwere office kwanu ife timafika pa nyumba pano kusewenzerani pathandizo amene mufuna ndipena masoza Dr. Makanjira ndifake ku challenge pano kuti kuli Dr. Makanjira kulibe kuyesa kani pa nyumba pano ife timafika kugwira ntchito amene mufuna ife.
The task was huge as it was between life and death. Sweat was visible on the face of the surgeon from the Zambia Flying Doctor Service and his team at Serenja District Hospital. Hands and brains coordinated to save a life of a 21-year-old man who was involved in a motorbike accident on the 26th of March, 2026 on Kawekupera Road in Serenja District, a road carnage which claimed the life of his 17-year-old relative he was seated with on the same motorbike.
We've just finished doing a life-saving operation for a patient who was involved in a road traffic accident 2 days ago, in which some patients had died. His condition was getting worse. He was rushed under ambulance to here. We were ready on hand to start the operation, and we've just spent 1 hour 30 minutes. He had sustained a broken spleen, a very important organ which makes and filters blood products in the body. The most important thing was that he had lost a lot of blood because 2 days had passed. However, the team, together with the local team, we worked very fast to ensure that we quickly went in and opened the patient and stopped the bleeding. So far, we've finished, and the patient is responding to the surgery and the treatment being managed.
Dr. Kaluba further disclosed a number of surgeries conducted so far by the Zambia Flying Doctor Service.
This is the 60th case we've done. That is 5 adults and 1 child. We did an operation for an adult who had a long-standing collection of fluid in the right side of his scrotum. We call it hydrocele. Several previous temporal draining of the fluid was done, and the recollection of the fluid still persisted. We were able to surgically correct that collection doing a procedure called hydrocelectomy.
And some of those who have undergone successive surgeries are grateful for this life-saving outreach.
Continue. We are happy with your services. You are really saving lives of people. You can't hesitate when you hear that free help is doctors are around your area. I'm feeling great that now I've been discharged. They have checked the surgery, and I'm feeling much better.
Very much thankful to the Zambia Flying Doctor Services, because the services that are being rendered to the nation, and in particular individual patients, it helps very much.
Joseph Siambihi reporting, Prime TV News, Serenja.
The new Apostolic Church Kapona congregation in Mongo District was back to capacity as President Hakainde Hichilema made a special appearance during his 2-day working visit to Western Province. Various cabinet and provincial ministers, as well as senior UPND government officials, also attended the service filled with worship songs. During the service, lead Apostle Elvis Movita delivered a powerful homily, urging attendees to love one another and uphold Christian values.
Love one another. Already has given us a new commandment in the book of John. That a new commandment I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. Beloveds in the Lord, we need to love one another. Love one another as a family. In the communities in which we live. And also as a country. We need to love one another. Beloveds in the Lord. So if we love one another with genuine love, that means putting the weight of Christ into practice.
President Hichilema in his address promised to maintain the current peace in the country, both now and after the upcoming general election.
elections should not divide this family, the Zambian family. It's a choice of those that will lead us so we can better the opportunities for our people across the country. So we want to commit, sir, that on our part, we'll do everything to ensure that we're peaceful, credible elections on the 13th of August 2026.
He also generously donated a sum of 200,000 kwacha and pledged to support the church's construction projects. The church members expressed their gratitude towards President Hichilema for his support.
We just want to say thank you for what the president has done in Mongu, all the donations that he has done to the new projects and the church. We say thank you and God bless our president.
Tumela hoko president kampo eba kone kufa kwa kereke yaruna. Tusiza huru makuru chimbo bai tumela luli mulimu abaiterere.
As the service concluded, the president bid farewell to the congregation and continued his journey to Lusaka.
If it's not on Prime TV 2, verify it. Our dedicated reporters across the country bring you accurate, well-researched news, keeping you informed 24/7. Catch us on Topstar Channel 110 and follow us on Facebook at Prime TV 2 Zambia. Prime TV 2, the home of breaking news.
Good morning, and you are still on the Sunrise Breakfast Show, and this time around we get to sports, and on sports we do have our guest in the studio for the first time in the longest time. We are really doing something different, and of course in the studio I do have Kasonde Nkole, Arsenal Africa Fan Festival local organizing committee chairperson. Mr. Kasonde, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Jeremiah.
So he is making the debut on the Sunrise Breakfast Show.
Certainly, certainly. Morning, how are you doing?
So you guys like calling yourselves Gunners?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, the Gunners.
We are the Gunners. With the cannon on our chest, of course.
I only hope that you're not going to bottle this one now.
No, we will not. Very confidently, I will say that the team of this season is one that has stood the test of time, given how long we've lasted in almost all the competitions, at least even getting to the final, and done.
Others are saying, look, they've already bottled one, so it's a usual Arsenal, and this is what happens, and now it starts.
Not at all, not at all. You say, fool me once, and this time around, not at all. So we have good replacements, even for positions that have injuries, and like what the picture was in the past. You could have seen that we did not have a very good bench in the past 2 seasons when that happened. Fatigue does get to every team, and I think you have even seen it in this season's quest for the trophy, that a lot of teams have also waned because of the number of games that have come week after week and day after day, almost every 2 days. It's been so intense. Even the clubs that you respect the most have drawn or lost when you did not expect them. That is what the challenge of the league actually is, and so here we are.
So you're hoping for the triple?
Well, I would say...
or maybe you cling on to the league?
A confident yes. But of course, in football, in sports, there's always a loser and a winner. But definitely, for as far as we have come, we would like to get everything.
All right.
Certainly.
All right. So let's get to talk about now the Arsenal fans in Zambia.
Okay.
You've got a group, or you've got an organization.
Yes, we do.
Maybe tell us just briefly how this organization started and how long have you been around and what you're up to.
Okay. So the Arsenal Zambia Supporters Association started in the year 2005. In 2010, on 28th October, Arsenal UK recognized the Arsenal Zambia Supporters Association. To that effect, this gives us every credence to then also follow the modus operandi of the Arsenal Football Club in ensuring that we have the same spirit of charity, going by the motto Victoria Concordia Crescit, which actually especially means victory through harmony. So in more than just loving football and the team, we look at being a positive impact on our community. So in that spirit, the Arsenal Zambia Supporters Association has quite on a numerous occasion been a positive impact in our community through donations to orphanages, centers such as even the correctional services. We have done a cleanup campaign, even just this weekend. Yeah. We had a cleanup campaign on Cairo Road. A lot of people may have seen that. And so in so doing, this year's festival then also opens out the African network coming together in Zambia for that very purpose, charity.
And I do remember at one point, what was it, last year or early this year, you donated some items at the clinic?
Yes, we did.
Okay, can you just elaborate on that?
Yes, so we had a donation at Skanza Hospital in Lusaka. And so in just helping mothers and especially people that needed a number of cleaning agents and the like, the hospital, or should I say the clinic, was assisted through that, through our various cooperating partners. And to that effect, we felt that it was a worthy cause to be supported, and we continue looking for more causes that we can align with, especially in being a positive impact in our society.
And especially that it was timely, because I think the medicines were not kept properly because they didn't have the refrigerator. You brought it up, and there's so many of those things from the lab that you really donated, because I attended that, so
yes,
I'm familiar with what transpired.
Yes.
And why do you think? Why did you pick Arsenal instead of our local team? A lot of people do ask this question.
Okay.
Why not a local team instead?
Okay. The answer to that question is that I actually have a local team.
Yeah, but it's not as...
Yes, it's not as pronounced.
Yeah.
This is because, especially...
May I know the local team?
My local team is Konkola Blades. I grew up in Chililawombwe. Sharpreza. Yes.
Right.
So what you would want to know is that the bigger impact of football and to our communities, to the economy, is one that can also be learned from these teams, and in how the associations of the fans movement can also have a very great impact in helping our communities. In the words of John F. Kennedy, who said, look not to what your country can do for you, but what you can also do for your country. I think the Arsenal movement and in Africa as well has greatly come together in that regard. So every year, the festival, wherever it is held, looks at especially providing such support. So look at what exactly have local teams, fan movements really done. Not much, right?
Yeah.
But they could actually draw lessons from what we are learning from what the Arsenal movement has taught us. So these are replicable lessons that we are gaining, not only from Zambia, from the UK, and from other African nations on how we can be a bigger impact in our communities. Also looking at the impact then that does not only go to social services, but look at the positive influence it will have on the youth and the like. So this is why I chose my team.
Your Arsenal team.
Yes.
But you are part of this Arsenal, and we've seen the positive results that is coming from you participating in these charity causes that you're really doing.
Yes.
What would be your impact, or what would you do to help out our local teams to emulate what you're really doing? Because of course you support Concola Blazes. Might be with you or start with you to do that.
Yes, certainly. So it's especially to create the right structures and systems that especially allow for such impact to be felt in our communities. So this is especially building a relationship between the team and the community. I don't know to what extent currently that most teams are putting in.
Not so much.
So that,
and I think that's the reason why we see some of these stadiums are empty.
So certainly. So you see, you get to have lifetime, for example, members of a team like Arsenal, whose great-grandparents bought a seat in the stadium for a particular price, and it has been kept at an optimum. This is already revenue that is actually generated by the. Is going to have that, devotion, that conviction to always put in that amount on an annual basis, and that is already an amount that the club can always point to and say, we use that money for this good or for that purpose. So our football teams locally then can also draw lessons from this and what we have learned as well in ensuring that we bring in the corporate world to see how we can do more than just be brands that want to sell our products and the like, but see that people feel the impact and need that is there in society, in our communities. And so these are the lessons I think we have learned, that we are learning still, and that we would like to then also bring forward in our local leagues. And if consulted, we're more than willing to especially share these lessons and help bring that change in our community.
I'm pretty sure that the fans across the country are listening to you, and probably they'll come through, especially from Chirilabombwe, so they need to learn some of the structures that you need to put in place for local teams to do the same things that you're doing now, which is a very good thing, and I appreciate that. Let's move to the festival, which is the elephant in the room.
Certainly.
Just some few days before that. We're just counting how many days too?
We've got 3 days.
3 days.
3 days to the festival. And what I'll tell you is the Arsenal Africa Fans Festival, this will be the 7th edition.
Yeah.
It started in 2017, and unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, could not be held for a number of years. And coming to Zambia this year, it's the first time that it's being held in Southern Africa. And we have the rare opportunity as Zambia to not only look at it as an event for the Arsenal fans, but actually for an event for Zambia. Because this festival then also brings many opportunities for our local entrepreneurs, and through the run of the program, like I will share, is something that we need a lot of support as Zambia, because we're representing the country, not Arsenal Football Club.
Yeah.
We're Arsenal's supporters from Zambia, but we're representing Zambia in this situation and have so much going for Zambia, as you could put it, in every way you could look at it. You could look at it right now.
Yeah. So in simple terms, Zambia will gain.
Zambia is.
They are not representing Arsenal. If you are Manchester United fans, you've got something that you can really bring in terms of selling.
Yes,
you just have to bring. Let's talk about some of the things that will happen at this particular event.
Okay.
And where the event is going to be, first of all. Yeah.
Okay. So the Africa Fans Festival is a three-day event. So this festival starts with a game between the comedians and a select number of fans from Arsenal Africa.
Yeah.
We've got 18 countries confirmed, by the way, coming to Zambia. We already have over 4 people that have arrived as at the time I'm speaking right now. And
which one is it?
So we've got about 2 Rwandese and 2 Kenyans that have already arrived.
Okay.
Yes.
I saw on social media there's a lady that was talking about coming, and you welcomed her.
Yes, we did.
Is she here already?
Yes, she is.
Okay.
Yes.
Very energetic.
Certainly, certainly.
So how are you going to pick the players? Because you've talked about some of those that are coming from different parts of Africa. In Zambia, we do have some
fans. Yes.
Yeah.
So this is a fun match.
Yeah.
So everybody interested has already started showing interest and thrown in their names. And then we're going to have, of course, just a few minutes given to every player to get a feel and have fun at that game.
It doesn't matter the number.
It doesn't matter the number.
So many substitutions will happen. So it sounds like fun.
A lot of fun.
Especially seeing you play.
a retired player.
A retired player.
Yes, once upon a time.
And Kasuli.
Yes, DJ Kasuli.
But I think for Kasuli, I don't know, because I think he's sitting on on two roads, because I knew him as a Madrid fan. So.
Oh, really? No, he is a Madrid fan, Madrid, yeah. but he's a big Arsenal fan.
Big Arsenal fan.
A very big Arsenal fan. And certainly, like you were asking, so we've got the football game with the comedians and the select Arsenal fans.
Yeah.
In the evening, we have the welcoming party or opening ceremony, which then gives...
so the game will be at Woodland Stadium?
At Woodland Stadium.
Okay, so and then the opening party?
The opening ceremony will be at the Mulungushi International Conference Center. So we have that to present every country represented, show their culture, and of course Zambia showing its traditional dances. So it will be an opportunity for cultural exchange. So this is a major event that you can imagine every industry could actually benefit from.
Yeah.
If they come and showcase their fashion, if they come and showcase their products. Because people don't just want to drink what they drink where they come from.
No.
They want to taste a soft drink from Zambia that is not known.
Chiboko from Zambia.
You can imagine that.
Mavisi from Zambia.
Yes. So we're inviting all these companies, all these brands to come to the table. We have a Facebook page, Arsenal Africa Fan Festival Lusaka Zambia, and that page is there for you to easily communicate with us. We've got a Facebook, a website. That is AfricaArsenalFansFestival.com, and that also is there for people to engage with us. And very easily, I can share numbers that they can contact us on.
You will share
yes.
at the end of the
yes.
program.
Yes.
But let's talk about Instagram. Are you in Instagram and X? Because I think that's Kumayad, and I know that a lot of Mayadis support Arsenal.
Okay, we do have Instagram, yes, and we also have Twitter.
Twitter.
Yes.
What's the handle?
For
Twitter and Instagram.
Actually, not Twitter. We've got TikTok. TikTok. Arsenal Africa Fan Festival. Yes. So TikTok and Instagram. It's Arsenal Africa Fan Festival 2026.
All right. So let's talk about, apart from those activities, first of all, who's going to be the guest of honor?
So the guest of honor for the opening ceremony is the Honorable Minister of Sports.
Yeah, he should be there because it's art, probably. And
yes. So Minister of Youth, Sport and Arts.
Convert him to being an Arsenal fan?
Well, we're still trying. We're still trying.
Yes. He believes in our sports, local sports. But
certainly.
I think you can convince him.
No, we will. And I think with what we are doing, the positive impact, he has been in full support of what we are doing, and we're very grateful for both the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts and the Ministry of Tourism, who have been supporting our cause since we started preparing for this festival. And getting to the second day, we have the charity event at the Lusaka Heart Hospital. What is in the name, but what is in the heart?
Yeah.
So the Lusaka Heart Hospital is the focus of charity for the 2026 Arsenal Africa Fans Festival. And to that effect, we are looking at helping, or should I say, proceeds from the football match going towards the building of a mother's shelter at the Lusaka Heart Hospital, and of course supporting the neonatal ward, which is a low-hanging fruit as we work towards a mother's shelter. So that is one aspect of the charity that we are doing. And then in the afternoon, we of course we share a meal with our fans. So we hope that more sponsors can come on board to showcase what they have. I beg your pardon?
The meal, sharing the meal, where is it going to be? Anticipate a lot of fans coming and going to that art hospital. Don't you think it's going to be overwhelming?
That is why we're calling for sponsors.
Yeah.
We're calling for sponsors so that we can manage that aspect of
the crowd
being hospital. We can manage the crowd, yes. So far, with the interested participants, really calling on more, because we could also do more as a united front in looking at victory through harmony, like the Arsenal spirit says.
Yes.
But as Zambia, let's come together and host our visitors from other African countries and show them the Zambian courtesy that we're capable of doing if we unite and ensure that we give them a good experience of Zambia through this festival.
So before you get to the third one, or the third day,
yes,
let's talk about the first day. You talked about Woodland Stadium. That's where the game is going to be. So if the proceeds, how much for the fans to enter or to get into Woodland Stadium?
Okay, so the price categories for fans are standing at 100 kwacha at the lowest tier. The second tier is at 500 kwacha for VIP and 1,000 kwacha for VVIP.
Don't you think it's too little? Because looking at the overwhelming response that we had when the Zambian musicians and comedians played at Woodland Stadium, it was packed to capacity, and I think there had so many others who were outside, and some of them opted to go and watch on some of the live feeds that were coming. Don't you think that is too low? Don't you think that if you put it up, still fans will come? We're talking about Arsenal fans and so many others would like to come and watch the fight. Because certainly,
but what we also want to do is also primary. We revised our fares to ensure that that matter of at least having the case of affordability, especially for every person that is in Zambia that wants to at least attend and have a feel and an experience of the festival, share it in part. So there is also then a close to how many tickets we can sell. Yeah. So it's incumbent, and we encourage people to buy tickets sooner rather than later.
So they're already on sale?
They're already on sale.
Can they get the tickets?
CompuTicket.
CompuTickets.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're on CompuTicket, and I can share the details at a later time. Right. But we have the tickets ready on CompuTicket, and so we are really hoping that people buy their tickets on time, and especially that they get to feel the Arsenal spirit that Africa, this Pan-African movement, has been building over the past 7 years. So with the 7th edition, first time being held in Southern Africa, we have a huge responsibility as Zambia to showcase not only what Zambian courtesy is, but what products are being produced by our various manufacturers, especially consumers, or should I say consumer goods, that these fans might want to actually even taste and post about. So if you look at the power of social media and optimization that social media brings with it, this is a very powerful event that our colleagues that are in the corporate world should be looking at even bringing to the table. Imagine mobile network operators coming on board and quickly having their SIM cards ready and available at the airport. We have people arriving and wanting to say, where can I buy a SIM card from? Yeah. So these are things that we are realizing that we could also even improve as far as our tourism targets are concerned. So this is where everyone can leverage this situation, this opportunity, learn many lessons, and even up our game in terms of especially providing for tourists.
Have you spoken to the Minister of Tourism?
Yes, we have, and they're actually part of it as well. They are a part of it. They've supported us tremendously, and we're still grateful for the work that they're still doing. So I will say that it is really been, should I say, the weight is being lessened, especially because of the support from the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Arts, and the Zambia Tourism Agency. I would also like to thank our other sponsors that have come on board, such as Radisson Blue, Millennium TV, Prime TV. We look at Radio Mano from Kasama, Zambezi FM. So these companies have come on board. We've got Spring Gold medical providers that have also supported us. So we are having a situation, you have close needs are plentiful, accommodation and the like. So you can imagine how many rooms are needed right now, how much food is needed right now, how much water is needed right now. So we're calling on all these sponsors to please come on board, because we have an opportunity for you to market in a different way through this special purpose vehicle.
Let's get to day 3.
Day 3 has quite a packed day. But before we get to day 3, I'd like to just remind you that we have a game on the very day. So yes, so they're also our sponsors.
Scream Club.
Yes, Scream Club is hosting the Game Watch. Similar to the game that we unfortunately lost in the Carabao Cup final. We had the Game Watch there.
It was really packed.
Yes, yes.
So the fans were really singing songs of us, and I didn't know that Zambians do know even some of those songs.
Oh, you have no idea. And you see the ambiance.
I thought you sing the loudest.
Yes, and so you see the ambiance of the festival especially is even more than what you saw there.
Yeah.
the passion of the Tanzanian fans, the Kenyan fans, the Rwandese fans. You see arms raised wide open to the Angel song. That is the Arsenal song, yes. And so you can expect to have quite an aura that is unexplainable. So I can't wait for you to be there at the game watch. And so then after the game watch, of course, we fall into day 3, where we have the morning city tour, where we're going to visit the Independence Stadium at the memorial site. Yeah. Yes, and then thereafter we'll show them a few other sites in Lusaka that they can appreciate.
And is one of those? Is it?
Not quite. That might be a bit far, but closer within. Okay. So perhaps KK's old house in Chilenge.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and maybe then we'll then taxi into the afternoon activity, which is the food market. So there's another opportunity that we have created that people can also derive or make quite a lot of money from. So through this festival, imagine that somebody selling food. People want to taste Zambian food, they want to taste Zambian drinks, that should be there. So we are encouraging people then to come and just sell their products. So we will have a food market at the main arena in Showgrounds on the 3rd day, which is the 5th, on Sunday. All so right. That is day 3.
All right. So are we expecting any of Arsenal legends to come through to Zambia?
Yes. So I would like to mention that Nwankwo Kanu has confirmed that he is traveling to Zambia for the Arsenal Africa Fans Festival. Further details will be shared with you of the time of his arrival, of course off camera. And we will also then have quite a number of artists that have already even shown their support towards the festival and the heart of charity that is the focus of the festival. Yeah. So our appeal to Zambia right now is that we need your support to successfully host this event. And thank you for the platform, of course, from Prime TV for this opportunity to share in this matter. So I'd like to submit that.
All right, so let's talk about, I know that I will be happy to see Nwankwo Kanu again. I did an interview with him when they came with the Legends.
Yes.
Talking about, I only had some few minutes talking to him because he shared a lot.
Yes.
Especially with a heart problem. And I think he will be the right person to go to the heart.
Certainly.
To the heart
Certainly.
He had almost stopping this game. And it happened at the time when he was very young.
Yes, it did.
Olympics.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. And so I think you may note that then the very charity focus also is something that is very close to his heart.
Yeah.
So that, like I said, what is in a heart? More than what is in a name.
Yeah.
And so you can note that what we have is a legend of note that does not only impact the sports fraternity, but also the health fraternity through his experience. And then, of course, the festival being also, the profile of the festival being the first that a football legend is actually attending.
Yeah.
So you can imagine what Zambia is about to, or should I say Zambia is about to just achieve with this festival. And with the support of Arsenal fans such as Danny Kaya, also that will be performing during the food market. We have Roberto opening the ceremony. So you can imagine that these Arsenal fans have all come on board.
K-Smash has been really fantastic.
K-Smash has been fantastic. Cast the Greatest. Tivo, of course. Salma Sky, yes. Thank you so much for the support and the love that you've given this festival's push. And we hope that...
Daniel Jerry.
Yes, Daniel Jerry, BJ, Piri.
So you've reached so many.
We have so many Arsenal fans that have been supporting this.
Is not, I do remember at one point there was a game that was watched between him and Chiluba, then the president.
Yes.
Yeah, bad one. Do you remember that at Oegans?
Yes. That was back in the day.
Yeah.
Yes. At the old Mandahill.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh. We've come from so far.
So far, yeah.
Yeah.
But anything else that you'd like to share? I know that you're too busy. You really have to go on and prepare all these things and make sure that we have a very positive festival. But just talking about, I know the fans.
Yes.
I had the privilege of having a picture in the studio.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. So yes, we do have facilitation for that that has been arranged, and so I would like our fans, our various interested people that want to especially have that experience to look out for our Facebook page, Arsenal Africa Fans Festival, Lusaka, Zambia, and Arsenal Zambia Supporters Association page. We have a number of, should I say, tiers that should be there. If I could just be allowed to read out.
No, you can go ahead.
Yes,
and read.
yes. I'd like to share the tiers for the what are we calling it, the football game, so that people can be ready and aware of what they can expect and what number they should. So the number for the compu tickets are, so you dial star 885 star 00465 star 100 hash, okay, for the ordinary ticket. For VIP, I'll share this with you. If you could maybe even just share it on your socials as well for us.
No problem.
Yeah, VIP, it's star 885 star 00856 star 500. That is for the VIP. And of course, VVIP, star 885 star 00263 star 100 hash. And so with that, we can have our people paying for the various tiers of tickets that they want to then sit in for this game with the comedians against the Arsenal select team.
Right, and maybe you can even share the number.
Yes, so the number to call is 0977 644 331. 0977 644 331. Alternatively, we could also have people call the numbers. Let's see. This is 0966 336 630. 0966 336 630. Especially for the football game.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so thank you very much for coming through and giving us that. But before we go, let me just give us some of the things that are really coming through in as far as sports is concerned. Other things other than the Arsenal Festival that is very, very important, and so much to talk about when it comes to that. And tell you what, if you are a businessman today, just make sure that you join the winning team, because they are a winning team, or because of the things that they've done in the time that they've been, they've formed this association. They've really been helping out the community and working with the community. So it's a testament, and I think the lessons to those that are not really doing exactly what they're supposed to do. It's not just about supporting football. I think you have to get back into the community and help your communities. Talking about the Mundi Cup that happened over the weekend, so we did see that Automotive, the perpetual winners, managed to win and beat Buffalo 6-0. They managed to win it, and of course something that happened, we had a new top scorer, 15 goals that he scored, Chiawa from Kafua Celtic, that really scored a lot of goals. Kafua Celtic, when it comes to football, I think they're doing enough in our local football, and going to futsal and dominating and scoring those goals, it's amazing. And that's just the team that Automotive that managed to win with the trophies and everything. So yeah, it's like they're sweeping everything. So we wait for the Premier League, and Christopher Eti, the coach, who is also the national team coach, really did well as well to make sure that they win this particular, the first edition of the Mundi Cup that happened, and some of those that were really fantastic and so much. And that's Chiawa, the Chiawa that managed to score the beautiful goals. And getting to Janelle, who is the young lady that played in the chess tournament that was called for. She was invited. 32 players participated in this tournament. It is called the Susan at 50 under 16 chess championship. And of course she was, she's not 16 yet, but she managed to get through and do all these things that she did. It was amazing for her to just come second to this particular tournament. And she's been tremendous. She's been fantastic. Janelle Mumba, and that is her, of course, just making sure that she's very steady. That is through one of the tournaments that she was playing, one of the games that she was playing, really, and she got points of 6 points, really, from the games that played, and the number one just beat her by 0.5, so yeah, 0.5. So it's just amazing to see that this young lady is performing up to expectations, and that's the reason why we need to have some sponsors who can sponsor these ladies or girls and boys who are going to participate in the 17th Africa Youth Chess Championship that will be happening in Uganda from 14th to 23rd of May 2026. So let's support them in any way that we can. At least even just just the tickets for them to go to Uganda, accommodation. Support them now, and they'll realize that Zambia is riding behind them and supporting them. It's not just about football, but chess, and especially that this is a young lady. She's not even 16 yet, but she was playing against the 16-year-old people and managed to get number 2. It's not a mean achievement amongst the 32 players. And not so long ago, she went to Zimbabwe and conquered. So this is a young lady that is, poised to be the grandmaster. So she can only be a grandmaster if she participates in some of these tournaments, and we have to support her and give her the accolades that we're supposed to have to give them. Even individuals, you can support her. So let's get to rugby. As we did have the knockout championship that happened, it seems that Red Arrows are really getting back because they didn't win the championship. So this time around, they look like they are progressive, and they managed to win, beating Kwazi. It's a minimal win, but I think they're doing very well. Remember that they beat Lusaka Powerhouse, and they really managed to demolish them. But this time around, against Nkwazi, it was too minimal, but obviously they're doing it. They're showing signs of Zambezi. We always look forward to these games. It happens in Zambia, Zimbabwe. This is a battle of Zambezi, and yeah, on the 25th of April this year. So this year we've got so much from the festival to this. It's going to be amazing, really, to just watch and enjoy the rugby games that will be happening. And then in the National Division 1, as we are even contemplating on learning from Arsenal fans, as fans of our Zambian or local clubs, despite the fact that it doesn't matter where you're coming from, Division 1, National Division 1, Premier League, whatever. So you have to embrace what Arsenal is doing, and let's really. But obviously, Aguera Stars managed to win. Big up to all the. In fact, Aguera Stars do have so many Arsenal fans. So yeah, as we speak, they're really looking forward to the festival as they're celebrating Aguera Stars beating Locust 2-0. And this was a game that happened yesterday. Chambishi beat Lumwana Radiance. Chirundu United, I beg your pardon, beat Lumwana Radiance 1-0. And then we did have some of the other games that came through, obviously. Chipata beaten, and it seems Chipata really, unfortunately for Eastern Province, it's not really happening for them. But Makeni All Stars really did well, and the fact that they've really gone on top of the table, but minimal results, or minimal, the difference is too minimal. And the 3 points separates the top 4. You can imagine the top 4 teams that are supposed to qualify to the Premier League, the only difference is 3 points. So just one game, one win, and they will be done, obviously. And that's just how tight the games are. Chirundu United is there, stylish Lon United. If those of you who grew up from the Copper Belt, Luansha, the likes of Mbesuma started from there. So every time that everybody talks about Ron United, these are legendary teams. If they get into the Premier League, we'll have so many teams coming back. And Dollar United, unfortunately, they're not really closer to that, but they can still get back. Aguera Stars have scored more goals this far. They've scored 42. The league leaders have scored 41. So despite the fact that they are on 7th position, but they are really doing very well. Getting to Zambia now, of course, Zimbabwe managed to beat the host nation. So we've got 2 teams, the Zambia A and Zambia B. And a lot of people are getting confused because they're seeing Zambia playing against Zimbabwe. And then they're seeing Zambia is playing against, that is tomorrow. Zambia will be playing against Zimbabwe, and then others are looking at Zambia on Wednesday, early in the morning on Wednesday. They will be playing against Argentina, and they're like, oh, which Zambia then? They're getting confused. So we've got 2 Zambians, and for the first time we've got separate teams, separate coaches. The 2 coaches that were appointed, George Randamina will be taking the team that is in Argentina, and of course we do have another coach that is in. Oswald Mutapa Jr., who is with the 4 national team tournament. And this is a team that consists of the under 23, under 20, under 17, and mostly the local players, and the likes of Shankobo, who has been in the teams, the senior national team, as well as the junior national teams, has been really fantastic. The captain there. So the hosts were beaten 3-0. Zambia managed to beat as well. They beat Malawi 9-8 on penalties. So they will be beating, the 2 teams will be meeting in the winners final, and the losers final will meet Zimbabwe versus the host Botswana. Also, they will be playing their game. But of course, this game, Zambia versus Zimbabwe, will be at 18 hours on Tuesday tomorrow. So let's go and support the Zambia national team. And as we are waiting for the big one that is going to happen, and this big one is Argentina versus Zambia. It's a big game. Everybody else is looking forward to this. And one thing that was talked about is the fact that, first of all, we will leave you with the interviews that was done probably in Argentina, where we did see Kalusha Bwadia, part of the team that is there, and of course one of the people that were pioneers to bring this game to fruition. And then we also have Keith Mwemba, the first president, who talked about Zambia getting back. If the president was the one talking, the president of this country, Hakainde Hichilema, would have said Zambia is back on the Champions League. We are not really yet back in terms of results, but we are back in terms of playing international games. And you can imagine that not just international games, but high quality profile international games. South Africa pushed to play against Argentina, and they said no. Guatemala was supposed to play on the same date. In fact, tomorrow they were supposed to play against Guatemala against Argentina. They said no, we're playing Zambia because of the FIFA series that are coming through. So Argentina will be playing Algeria. So they wanted to have a feel of a Zambian or an African team, and they picked Zambia. It's a blessing, and knowing that we do have some of the players that did well back in the days, and that's the reason the name that we created is the reason why we're doing this, and we're having this game against Argentina. So big up to all the players that have been picked, and big up to everybody else that really pushed for this. As we are about to go, let me just get your closing remarks as we have to go, and of course, as we go.
I wanted to firstly thank you once more, Jeremiah, for this opportunity, or as they call you, JC, and to also echo what you said about Zambia Kuchalo, which is actually the hashtag that we're also using as Arsenal Africa Fans Festival. We're saying hashtag AFF 2026, hashtag Zambia Kuchalo. So this festival certainly is not just one for Arsenal fans, it is for Zambia to make a success. I would like to call on sponsors to please come on board. We need those beverages, we need those mobile network operators to come on board to especially help us showcase our country for the beauty that it has and the potential that it has economically to grow. And I would like to then also invite people to our food market, and we have called out, we made a call for vendors to please come out. So I'd like to thank you then once more, and that's all from us.
All right, so for me, really, as we're going to go on a break, but obviously all we have to say is thank you very much for coming through. And I'm only hoping, and I'll be on your case to make sure that, we have to make sure that obviously you teach our local teams to understand what Arsenal is doing, to do all these things that we've been doing, so that we draw the gap in between the fans and the teams. It's like we're separated. We move in two different directions. You can imagine we've got so much fan base in terms of Concola Blades, for example.
Yes.
Nkana, we've got so much fan base. If these teams are doing what Arsenal fans are doing, I think it will be a different case altogether. So let's do that. Let's follow through. And thank you very much for everybody that has been around for Sunrise Breakfast Show. Of course, we're looking at Musa and Rhoda in their absentia. As I say goodbye to everybody that has been listening and watching a breakfast show, Sunrise Breakfast Show. We'll be back on Wednesday, same time, same place. Make sure that you make a date. And if you are Arsenal fan, let's do what we have to do. Until then, God bless you. Bye-bye.
henna muligisi idekoda ya Topstar amwebere magani atugwa munchiri agasimpe amumasena momukala ambunga abahimu wezelela twambo bahomega abahimulimo twamwetela magani muhyogo yonse hajihi ana majaja wa Prime TV 2 channel 110 ninganda ile tamagani mbwabele.